Hey everyone, this is our lesson on photosynthesis. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to analyze photosynthesis in terms of how energy is stored and released, and then how it's transferred between and within these systems. So we will look a little bit at comparing with cellular respiration here as well. So first, let's just make sure we know what photosynthesis is. So this does happen only by plants, and green plants will capture energy from sunlight and convert it into glucose or stored energy. Autotrophs, another word for plants, must make their own food because they don't consume other things. So auto means self, troph means eater food, self food has to make its own. So to do this, they capture energy from the sun and build simple carbohydrates like glucose, and this process is called photosynthesis. So how do plants get the energy from sunlight? We know that the sunlight itself actually contains many colors of light, and those different waves can be absorbed at different wavelengths. But since plants appear green, that means that green light is being reflected back at us. So that means it's not being absorbed by the plant. So the plants are absorbing all the other colors, especially red and blue. So if you ever have house plants and like you have to have a lamp, a UV lamp, I'd show you mine, but it's not on right now. Like some sort of UV lamp for them to grow, they say to make sure it has red and blue lights because that is what will really help the plants absorb that wavelength. So plants contain a special pigment, which we know is called chlorophyll, and that is inside the chloroplast, which is an organelle. So chlorophyll absorbs the red and blue light, and it will reflect the green, and that's what it will use to help go through photosynthesis. So the equation for photosynthesis is carbon dioxide and water and light energy is used to produce glucose and oxygen. And something I think is really cool to see here, so I'll say this bullet and then I'll go into that. The process occurs in the chloroplast in green plants and in the leaves of the plants. But one thing that's really cool, I think, here, and if you look at this GIF, you can see it. So let me go to my pen. Let me do purple. Maybe if I let me click on it. Okay. Is that we're comparing here cellular respiration. It's not going to let me write, is it? It won't let me. It's not going to let me. Oh, well. So cellular respiration here. Ooh, and photosynthesis is at the bottom. And it's showing you, it's circling them for you. So the reactants for cellular respiration were glucose and oxygen. Those are the products of photosynthesis. And then the two products that we have, two main products for cellular respiration, our waste products, are carbon dioxide and water. Well, those are the reactants for photosynthesis. So these two reactions in plants, especially, obviously, because we can't go through photosynthesis, happen hand in hand. The products of one become the reactants of the other, and it becomes a cycle that these plants go through to be able to process the energy and produce the energy that they need. So how does photosynthesis work? Plants will take in carbon dioxide from their environment through the stomata and in the leaves and absorb water through the soil and the roots. So you can see that just in this little GIF here. Chlorophyll in the chloroplast uses water to absorb sunlight, so it'll really focus on those red and blue portions of light energy, and it will release oxygen as a waste product. So think about it. We always say we want to, or they say to talk to your plants to make them grow, to give them more CO2. Well, they're just as necessary for us because they produce what we need to survive as well. And then energy from sunlight is transferred from chlorophyll to make ATP by adding a phosphate to the ADP. And then the plants will use this stored energy, hydrogen from water and carbon dioxide, to make the sugars that it needs to feed. So these steps are divided into two versions. The first one is light dependent, And this is where water is split into oxygen and hydrogen, releases the oxygen as waste for us to breathe, and then uses the hydrogen to create the ATP and build the glucose molecules, because hydrogens are what will allow those phosphate groups to bond back to the ADP to become ATP. Then you also have the light independent step. And this is where the ATP and coenzymes from the light-dependent reactions combine with the carbon dioxide, and it rearranges all of these atoms together to actually form the sugars or the glucose that is needed to be food for the plant. So a quick summary here. The purpose of photosynthesis is to convert sunlight into usable form of energy for plants. The reactants are carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight, specifically the blue and red. And then the products are oxygen and glucose, which is the food. Only plants and some protists will go through photosynthesis because they're the ones that have the chloroplast. And then the purpose of the chlorophyll is to trap the energy from the sun in the wavelength that it can use